Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the official college football smart money segment of the week, where we look where is the money going on these college football lines. And then, guys, of course, at the end, I give off my smart money best bets based off who the professionals are picking, who I like. We combined it all and we come up with the actual best bets of the week, the smart money bets. But this is just where the money's going. And guys, I've actually added on my own grade to each of these bets. So you take a look, Virginia at Georgia Tech. People love the over 47. 90% of the money is being bet. I give this bet grade a B. I think, it's possible it's a weeknight game. I think that game is tonight. So I don't mind the over 47 in a weeknight game college football matchup. I know Virginia's been really bad at offense. Georgia Tech loves to run the ball. That's why the over-under is only a 47. But listen, if you get like a 27-24 type game, the over hits. Even a 27-21 type game, the over hits. So I understand why a lot of money from the general public is going in on the over. Next, we've got Troy at South Alabama, the under 46.5. I'm going to give that a B-. I think it's a small number. These are two teams that both have really good defenses, but I don't know. This could be a game that, again, a weeknight game. I could see this game going over, but I understand why people are doing it. Troy, an amazing defense. South Alabama, really good on defense. Should be a close game. Both of those teams, I believe, at 5-1 or 5-2, something like that. Wake Forest -20 versus Boston College. 89% of the money going in on Wake Forest to cover. I give the bet grade a C. So whenever I give the grade a C, it's just I really have no opinion one way or the other. I'm not betting the Wake Forest Boston College game at all. I mean, Wake Forest does score a lot. Boston College, they haven't been very good this year. I'm just staying away from it. But I think both of these teams coming off bye weeks. Wake Forest is at home in that one. Rutgers -3.5 versus Indiana. 91% of the money in on Rutgers minus the 3.5. I'm just not interested in betting either of these teams right now, personally. I gave it a D. I don't know. If you feel strongly, go ahead, but I'll pass on that. Memphis at Tulane, the over 56.5. 80% of the money. I give it an A-. I really like this. Tulane at home. It's going to be a rowdy crowd. They're finally ranked for the first time in forever. Memphis is a very bipolar team. Sometimes they can score, other times they can't. But I like this game possibly to be surprisingly close. But I do like the over 56.5. I think even you get a game like 34-27, the over is easily hitting. Cincinnati at SMU, the over 58.5. 84% of the money going in on the over. I give this bet grade a B+. I'm in agreement. I think there's, a lot of people that are actually, a lot of the professionals are in on SMU plus 3.5 at home versus Cincy. Cincy's starting quarterback has an injury. Obviously for the over to hit, we're going to need him to play. But again, it's a situation. We've seen so many of these college noon games be shootouts. And this is another noon game, two competitive teams, good enough offenses. SMU coming off that terrible loss to UCF. They're at home. They're going to want to get back on track. And I like both of those teams to be competitive and score a lot, so I do like the over in that one. Northern Illinois -3 at Ohio. Kind of surprised me. 93% of the money going in on Northern Illinois. Now, I like Northern Illinois, but Ohio has a really good quarterback. I give it a C grade. I'm not really interested in betting that game. The MAC is just such a crapshoot, especially for a game like that. I don't see that. I don't have a strong parity vibe on that game. We've got Buffalo plus 7.5 versus Toledo. There is decent value on Buffalo at home plus the 7.5. I know I love Toledo. I always say it. I think they're so underrated. They can run the table in the MAC. But Buffalo also is 3-0 in the MAC, and they're getting 7.5 at home to cover. That's good value at home. I give it a B minus. I do like Toledo though. Toledo can score a ton of points. I love the over in that game. The general public likes the under. They like Toledo at Buffalo, the under 57. 97% of the general public on the under. Unless there's an injury I'm unaware of, I completely see this the opposite. This is the MAC. Toledo always scores a bunch of points. Buffalo should be competitive enough in this game. I think there's great value. I'm shocked this has been bet down to 57 unless there's some injury, but I give that, a grade of a D. Number 10, Western Michigan at Miami of Ohio, the under 44.5. 93% of the public in on that. I give the grade a C. I'm just not all that interested in betting the under 44 in a MAC game. You do have those MAC games that can be like 17-13. I understand that Miami of Ohio has a really bad offense. That's why people are probably going in on the under, but I will pass. Number 11, Akron plus 18 at Kent State. 94% of the general public on Akron plus the 18. I give it a C. I really don't have an opinion on that. I'm not interested in betting for or against Akron this week. Bowling Green plus 6.5 at Central Michigan. 91% of the general public on Bowling Green to cover the 6.5. Of course, Bowling Green did win last week. But guys, personally, I see it completely different than the general public. I give this bet grade an F. I am in on Central Michigan minus the 6.5. Central Michigan is an underrated team. Bowling Green still sucks, guys. Let's not overthink this. They will lose probably by double digits in that one. Number 13, Marshall at James Madison, the under 51.5. I give that grade an F. 93% of the money is going in on the under. It's just too small of a number, 51.5 for a James Madison game. I could see James Madison scoring 42 or 45 points by themselves. I understand Marshall tends to play low-scoring games, but 51.5 is it would have to be like 55 or 56 personally for me to go in on the under in a James Madison game. Georgia Southern at Old Dominion, the under 65.5, 86% of the general public in on that. I'm not interested. Georgia Southern games tend to be really high scoring. I'm guessing people are finding value considering the over-under is 65.5. It's a pretty big number. I'm not interested, though. We've seen these college games. It could be 37-30 very easily. I'll pass on that. Arkansas State at Louisiana, the under 51.5, 93%. So, guys, I give that grade. I might actually have to up that grade. The more I look at that, Arkansas State at Louisiana seems to always play low-scoring games, but 51.5 is not a lot. I really don't get a good vibe on that game either way. I'll pass on it, but the general public is in on the under. BYU at Liberty, the under 58, 91%. I see it the opposite personally. I think this game is going to go over. BYU has a horrifically bad defense. I think people are overreacting to Liberty struggling last week against Gardner-Webb. Guys, this is college football. Teams are going to struggle against an FCS team one week, and then they're going to play really well the next. It doesn't make any sense. It's just how it is. I think Liberty is a great value to cover the 7-point spread in that one. I am not high on BYU right now. We've got UL Monroe plus the 6.5 at Army. 89% of the general public on UL Monroe to keep it within 6. And I agree with them. I give this a B. Army has really not been good this year. But I think the real play in that game is the under, personally. We've got Kansas State at TCU, the under 54.5. 92% of the public is in on the under. And guys, I agree completely. This game has 27-24 vibes written all over it. That would be 51 points. It's a late night game. TCU keeps playing these higher scoring games, but I think Kansas State is going to run the ball a ton. They're going to slow the game down. The under is good value. These TCU games keep going over. This one will buck the trend. It will go under. Number 19, Kansas plus the 8 at Baylor. 86% of the general public in on Kansas here. I give it a C. Baylor's starting quarterback has an injury. We will see if he does end up playing, but either way, guys, I think it's a situation where I'm staying away from Kansas. I mean, your defense gives up 700 total yards. I'm not interested in betting on you the next week. I'm not going to try and use some Einstein big brain to bet on Kansas after their defense did that. Cal plus the 7.5 versus Washington. This is crazy. A massive amount of money was dumped on California, believe it or not, to cover the 7.5, 99%. I don't see it at all. I think California's a really bad team. I understand they're at home. I understand Cal has a decent defense. To me, Washington is 1,000 times more explosive. If Washington scores 30 points, they're going to cover the 7.5 extremely easily. So yeah, I would go Washington minus the 7.5 personally. Next, we've got Arizona State at Stanford. This is probably the bet of the century, guys. This is it right here. It's very rare you get something where all the stars align. The timing, the professionals, the overall vibe, it's all there. Arizona State at Stanford, the under 54.5. 97% of the general public and me are in on this game. This is the lock of the century. It is crazy. It's unbelievable. Definitely. Texas A&M at South Carolina, the under 44.5. So the general public doing that strategy where you bet the under in every Texas A&M game. I respect it. It's definitely worked. So I give it a B-. I'm not betting it, but I give it a B-. Vanderbilt plus the 14 at Missouri. Yeah, I'm just not interested. 92% of the people on Vanderbilt, I just cannot bet Vanderbilt right now. Personally, they've been so bad recently. Also, we've got Vandy at Missouri, the under 52.5, 99% of the overall money going in on the under. I give it a B+, I think, 52.5. Listen, I don't know, really. I'm just not interested in betting on Vanderbilt at this point. But actually, I do like the under in that game. I will say, the under 52.5. It just has a vibe of a lower scoring game. Ole Miss at LSU, the under 68. Guys, I'm starting to like this more as the week goes on. It does seem like we're overreacting to LSU's offensive explosion just a little bit. 68 is a lot. Jane Daniels, outside of last week, really hasn't been good. I kind of agree here. I give this a B+. I'm starting to like the value on the under there. Mississippi, although it is a 3:30 game, and 3:30 games on the SEC, on CBS, they always tend to be big, high scoring. Mississippi State at Alabama, the over 60.5. I love it. A+ from me. 79% of the public in on the over. Alabama, their offense is about to explode. They kind of did last week, scoring 49 points. We know Mississippi State, they've got the air raid. They throw the ball. There's going to be a ton of possessions in this game. UNLV at Notre Dame. How about the under 47.5? Yes, this game has 31-7 written all over it. 89% in on the under in that one. North Texas at UTSA, the over 71.5. Guys, I checked, and I think this has been bet up to 73 at this point. Any North Texas game, we're betting the over. We love North Texas, so give me the over. Hawaii +5 at Colorado State. There's good value right now on Hawaii. 96% of the people agree. Hawaii +5, possibly to win outright. Guys, Colorado State is a horrible team. Hawaii's playing better. Colorado State might be without their starting quarterback. Hawaii +5 is the value. Minnesota at Penn State, the under 44.5. And guys, I like this a lot. I could see Penn State. Actually, you know what? I think I had the final score of this game 31-14. But honestly, I don't know if Penn State gets to 31. So Minnesota's going to want to run the ball. It's going to be tough to score in that environment. I agree. I like the under in this one. But guys, let's get to the smart money bets where we combined who are the professionals in on, where is the actual money going, aside from the public, and who else do I like. We combined it all into the best bets, the smart money bets. Number 1, Arizona State at Stanford. I've talked about it, the under 54.5. That is the lock of the century, folks. Clemson -13.5 versus Syracuse. They're just way too talented on the defensive line. Syracuse will be bullied in this game. They will cover the 13.5. Cincinnati at SMU, give me the over. It's been trending. These noon games are always going over. I'll take the over 58.5. Mississippi State at Alabama, give me the over 60.5. I talked about it earlier. I'll take it. North Texas at UTSA, give me the over. It's up to 73. I'll still take the over. We're auto betting the over in any North Texas game. Hawaii +5 at Colorado State. Colorado State starting quarterback, possibly out. Kansas State at TCU, the under 54.5. Very, very good value in that one. UCLA at Oregon, the under 72. Another auto lock of the century. Guys, get this. Look up, Google the forecast. Eugene, Oregon, Saturday. It's heavy rain all day. Under 72 is a lock. This line is going to plummet because people are going to realize the rain, get in on it quickly. It's going to be 60. The over-under is going to be 64 by kickoff. FIU at Charlotte, we like the over 64.5. Both of these teams suck. It tends to result in higher scoring games. I could see a game being 52-31, something like that. I'll take the over. Virginia at Georgia Tech. We like the over 47. It's good value. It's a small number to get to. I think these college teams can do it. UAB at Western Kentucky. So guys, this is one of the games the professionals are in on. I disagree with this. I love the over in this game, but there is a ton of money. The overall tickets are going in on the over, which I agree with, but the money is going in on the under. So that tells me the professional bettors who invest a lot of money into this stuff, they're betting the under in the UAB Western Kentucky game, which is, I think, tomorrow night, Friday night. Wake Forest minus the 20.5 versus Boston College. I don't really have an opinion on that, but a ton of professional money is in on Wake Forest to cover. Indiana at Rutgers, the over 48. I mean, I'm just gonna pass on betting on either one of these teams, man. I'm just not interested. SMU plus the 3.5 versus Cincinnati. They like the value of SMU with Cincinnati's quarterback possibly banged up. Tulane minus the 7 versus Memphis. It's gonna be a rocking environment. Tulane has a home game. You know, the first time they're ranked in forever. East Carolina plus 5 versus UCF. So I am strongly against this game, guys. I love UCF. If you guys remember last week, a lot of the professionals were in on Temple plus 23 versus UCF. I said they were wrong. I was proven right. I'm going to keep betting on UCF until they lose. They're so good. They're the most underrated team in college football, but they are finding value on East Carolina's offense being at home and being 5-point underdogs. Marshall at James Madison, the under 51.5. I'll pass on that. It's just too small of a number involving James Madison. Iowa at Ohio State, the under 49.5. I mean, I have this game at 41-3. I think it just depends on how many points Iowa scores because I don't see Ohio State dropping a 50-burger on this Iowa defense. I think the real bet here is Ohio State minus 29 personally, or I think it's minus 30 now. Ole Miss at LSU, the under 68. I'm liking that. I'm starting to really like that bet. And then Minnesota at Penn State, the under 44.5. I'm also liking that bet a lot. So that's a lot of unders there to finish. But guys, those are the official smart money bets. Who's the general public betting on here for week number 8? That's going to do it for this video. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.